All right. I think we're recording.
It
We
says
feel
we
so
are.
excited with ourselves with this technology piece of getting StreamYard going. Told Mackenzie I felt fancy. I figured out our logo on the little top
Mhm.
screen. So anyway, we're going to talk a lot about personality types, and actually, I guess it's a good segue because there's some of these little things that we have to do in life that maybe aren't our skill set, but we figure it out and we work around it, right?
We try.
Sometimes better than others, right?
Right.
Well, also, we're going to do another Wine Down Wednesday, but yet again, no wine. I mean, I'm really kind of feeling sad for us. We're really like diligent working girls.
We are, but it's okay because you know what? Yes. Wind down Wednesday with I don't know. Like we said, maybe we need to change the name, but we'll have to see what we want to do. But for
With
today,
coffee.
coffee, yeah. Don't even have the coffee. I hit my capacity for coffee already, so we're gonna go
Get it?
ahead and not do that.
I really get it. Well, Mackenzie had this idea when we were talking about kind of podcasty ideas, and one was around all of the personality tests we've taken over the years, and boy, have we taken quite a few. And she told me about another one. I was like, "Dang it, I don't have that one." So I'm going to take that this afternoon because I'm incredibly intrigued by them. But we're going to talk a little bit about DISC today, 16 personalities, which is
Mhm.
another one, and then also your working genius. All three of those are really great. And then I'm going to have to check out this Clifton Strength Finders a little bit later on today.
It takes a little bit of time, so just do it when you have like time and headspace to like
Yeah,
really kind of think about it because it's a great, and a good report to knock it all out.
yeah,
Well, I
definitely.
find it so fun that we are doing this because when we worked together a few years ago, we had taken the disc profile, and as we've gone into the business, we've learned about other profiles and different personality tests. And it was funny when you and I were talking about partnering again. One of the very first questions we said was, "What is your working genius?" Right? We didn't have our working geniuses 3 years ago when we were working together, but I found it incredibly fascinating. They were like, "What's your genius? This is my genius. This is yours." So maybe we start with that and
Yeah.
how what our working geniuses are and how they complement each other or how maybe they don't complement each other, right? And that's all in the beauty of who we are.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the beauty of this. I think that's why maybe you and I are a little bit different because I don't necessarily want to surround myself with people that are exactly like me. I think the strength can be in knowing who you are, having some self awareness, right, around what your personality kind of lends itself to naturally, but also kind of embrace when people can maybe fill your voids.
Mm.
And I think that's what's been fun about working genius as well. So yeah, let's talk about that. Let me grab my little cheat sheet to see where
I
I
have
am.
my notes too.
Awesome. All right. So what are you, Mackenzie?
So there's six, right?
Yep.
Six working geniuses, and the two that I am my genius are enabler and galvanizer. Um, which did not surprise me or anybody else who saw what that was. So I guess just real quick, I'll kind of talk about what an enabler is. And usually when you hear the word enabler, you get a kind of a negative connotation. Stop enabling them, right? As a mom or as a wife or as a husband, and you're an enabler. And even the creators of Working Genius says this is actually not a terrible thing. Enabler is that you are somebody who can kind of sit back and look at the bigger picture of of people and kind of see where they need to be lifted up, not maybe in a big in front of everybody, but just drop small little nuggets of love, right?
Yes, I think
And
that
continue to because when I'm like, I'm not an enabler. I'm like, oh gosh, yes, I am, and gosh
Mhm.
darn it, I'm going to be proud of it.
Right.
And then the galvanizers, I'm your cheerleader. We're going to do this. If you tell me what we're going to do, and I'm like, and I believe in it, I'm going to be like, I'm in, and I'm just going to galvanize the hell out of you. And I'm going to get the people moving to the greater good, swimming towards the boat. So
Yeah.
I might not come up with the idea, but if you give me an idea and I'm like, yup, I'm going to get the rest of us on board.
I
So
think
that's
it
my.
really sums you up very nicely. I really do. Um, so those 2 are my working competency, which means they
Okay.
do not frustrate me. I'm good with it, but they're not necessarily my strengths. At least it's not my working frustration, because that would probably put us at polar opposites, and maybe we would have challenges through there.
Or
But
I just know that if we need our team to galvanize to do something, it's not going to be you, and I can't get mad at you. I just be like, listen, it's not our genius, it's your genius, Mackenzie. Pull it together and let's move on, sort of thing. That's what I
exactly,
love about it too.
that's the beauty of teams, right?
Exactly.
All right. So my working genius is what's called a DT. So D is discernment. We'll do another little test and we'll find out D is something else. But it is funny that letter. I feel like I should have it maybe at the initial for me. It comes up all the time. So discernment is you're naturally gifted at and derive energy from using your intuition and instincts to evaluate and assess ideas or plans. And I had never had it broken down to me like that. I call it my gut check, and I let my gut kind of really decide a lot of things in my life. And I can literally walk into a room and I'm like, this person's authentic. I don't know if I trust this person or if I don't agree. And I can very instantly make some of those assessments, right or wrong. But I think it gives me some confidence about myself in like a weird way. I feel like I'm a good judge of character. I'm also an observer. So Anna Powell during a training said, and I agree with, their discerners are not just people that can be in a room with other real estate agents and assess like who has the knowledge and who doesn't. They can walk into an insurance company's convention and go, yeah, this person versus that person very quickly. And so I find that kind of interesting. And
Well, I just
T,
want to piggyback on that real quick because I have
yeah,
another really good friend who's a D, and he was talking about too. He dug into it deeper that, and because you use the word gut check, so
mhm,
D is my in my competency. It's not my strength. I'll do it, but then I get annoyed with him. Like, all right, just move on, stop discerning, and let's just do something, right?
mhm,
But it's if you were to like to come, we were going to a room and you would say, Mackenzie, that person, I just don't know about it. And I'm like, really? Why this? And the what can frustrate a discerner is having to prove it because you can't. Most
right,
times it's
right.
just nope. I
There's
got
no
the
empirical
genius.
data. Yep.
Nope. This
Mhm.
is it, and you trust me, so let's go. So I have to be careful with a friend when because I'm like, really? I don't see that. And
Right.
he's like, don't second guess me. I'm like, okay. And then he's usually right, like you are. So I just wanted to say that.
It is kind of funny. It is one of those little weird, and it usually serves me really, really well. I mean, occasionally I'm fooled, but yeah, I think it's a one of those good little secret powers, right? All
Absolutely.
right. The other one is tenacity. You're naturally gifted at and derive energy from and joy from pushing projects and tasks through to completion to ensure that the desired results are achieved. This is one that I think I'm glad I have, but it can be frustrating because there'll be a project and maybe it's worth abandoning ship on. Maybe it's just the ship has sailed, it's not worth going through. But no, if it's on my list and it's something that we need to do, like it really frustrates me when it's not accomplished. And so I operate a lot on to-do lists and things like that. And so I will be the one that will work until I get it done and I will be mad when things don't get finished. And it's both I think a positive and can be incredibly negative personality trait.
Um, Negative. I thank God you're in my role and your T is a genius. Again, that is in my working competency. It's not a frustration, but you and I were joking because we do these tests. I'm like, I am working in tenacity right now for the last 6 weeks and
Right.
get me out. It's not that I
Yeah.
can't do it. It's not that I don't want to do it. It helps me stay in it longer when I know it's going to help somebody else or somebody else is depending on me to get something done. That's tenacity work. If it's just for me, I'm like, ugh, I don't want
Yeah.
to do it but for somebody else. And so for somebody who does not have as their genius, I don't see a negative thing about it
Yeah.
at all.
Well, what's funny when you said that last week, I guess, like I've been working in my tenacity. And I was like, "Ooh," like for me, I'm like, I love that, like, checking
Mhm.
things off, and then I could see, it was like, "Alright, so why are we working opposite? Maybe I'm working in an area that I don't need to, and maybe I should flip and help out with some of the tenacity task." So it's good conversations, right? I think it just helps us understand where we can help each other out and, yeah, where we can kinda switch roles at times too, so it's really
And
good.
just be okay to say, "Hey, listen, I'm drained." Because for me, it's when I'm not working in my genius, you just get drained quicker. It's not like because sometimes I can galvanize somebody and I can be really super drained by it. And if I don't fill my cup in the other ways I need to fill my cup to re-energize, I just find that you drain quicker when you work in those middle ones, and then your frustrations. Not that we can't, but
Right.
you're just it takes a lot for me. It takes a lot out of mental headspace, more mental headspace than working in my genius because it just comes more naturally, I think, to us.
Yeah, I mean, it even says, you derive energy and joy from, and that is
Mhm.
true. You're right, at the end of the day, when you feel super, super tired, and maybe you didn't work any more than you normally do, but it's just you were doing things that were just outside of your working genius, honestly.
Mhm.
So, all right, anything else you wanna share on this test?
I don't. I think the other ones we should share. I think it's interesting that neither one of us. So, do we both have wonder and invention in our frustration?
No, and in fact, it is a working frustration for me.
Mhm. So just to round it up, no one's ever heard of the 6 working geniuses. There's wonder and there's invention. And your wanderers, the guy Pat Lencioni talks about a 30,000-foot view, like things of an airplane, right? So your 30,000 foot are your wanderers, right? And this sort of thing, and your inventors, and they're up here always wondering about the world and wondering about and how do we create this and that sort of thing. And then you kind of come down. So your tenacity is at that 15,000, 10,000, 5. You're landing the plane at tenacity. So you like to land that plane,
Mm.
right? Both of my geniuses are right in the middle. I don't want to be up here. I'm like, nope, we already wondered. We already figured it out. So let's galvanize the hell out of the people, right?
Do
We
it.
don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And then you want all your T's crossed and all your I's dotted. Okay, great.
Mhm.
Then you need to get down to 5,000 level foot. So I think that's something, all of them are great. There's nothing wrong with any of them. But I find it incredibly interesting that we have the same working frustrations, which means
We need to hire
we
somebody for that.
we need to hire somebody and make sure that we are open to listen to wanderers and to inventors. Who's a WT,
Who is that?
which is like he's here and he's here.
That's crazy.
Mike. Mike.
Really? Okay.
Right? Those of you who know Mike, my husband, he is, you can see the T in him, right? The tenacity.
Yes.
Absolutely getting stuff done. But he is a W. So he'll when you and I are talking about things and he overhears, we'll get off the phone. He's like, "Well, did you think about that?" And I'm just
Love
like,
it.
right? And it's because he's wondering, and I'm already trying to land the plane.
Yeah.
So
I
so
love
that's
it.
cool. Yeah.
That's great. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, my mind is literally blown. I love
You need
that.
to have you had Mac take it? You need to have Mac take it.
I haven't had him do this one. He's done some of the other ones before. So my husband is very analytical. And so if I have him do too many of these, he's like, although we'll have to have a little side note on disc one time he did it, and it really bothered him because he
Mhm.
zeroed in on some of the negatives. And then again, I think self-awareness can be such a powerful thing when you're like, "Oh my gosh," you see the things that maybe how
Of
you
course.
impact others in your life. And so he didn't
Mhm.
love it necessarily.
None of us love to look at ourselves, right?
No, but he was like, I don't like this at all."
Exactly.
All right, milady, which one do you wanna do next?
Well, I think the next great one to do is just kind of switch things that you and I both like the disc for client and customer relationships, right? Um, you and I, when we got together and we're looking at the Working Genius, we had a little bit of background information. We had personal history. Unless they're our sphere of influence or friends and family, we don't have any of that history, right? We don't have any of that background information when we meet somebody that we're working with. So I have a love-hate relationship with the disc. I
I
do
have
think
more to love
one this is one of the one personality tests that can, if we're not careful, put people in boxes.
Mhm.
I know that I've allowed it to put me in a box until I kind of worked on these other ones, right? And that sort of thing. But I think it's a really great way for us to work on our soft sales skills, to be able to walk into a room, meet somebody for the first time, talk to somebody on the phone for the first time, and be able to, at a very high level, kind of analyze how we need to communicate with them. For example, I am the disc of very high I. If you don't know that about me, I'm a very high I. So if I get on the phone with somebody, especially, or in front of somebody, I need to kind of I talk with my hands. So I try not to talk with my hands, be so demonstrative in a
Mhm.
conversation, because that can take somebody back, perhaps, who doesn't have that high I, a little bit more reserved. And so I want to talk slower. I can talk very, very fast, and I'm very elevated. And so I do love the disc to help in creating a relationship, creating that level of trust, so that we know how to communicate with our clients. Well, first the customers, I guess, and then once they become clients.
For sure. I have a love for DISC for a lot of reasons. It was my first personality test I took years ago in pharma sales. And I will tell you, like, I had never thought about it in that way. Like, I just, you just think that people are certain ways, but you don't. For me, it was helpful to put people in boxes in a way because you're like,
Mhm.
oh, wow, okay, well, we're not all so similar. We have some differences. And again, I need to be self aware of kind of how I come to the table in communication and how someone else may too. And they show you pretty quickly through, yes, tone and pace and some of these things you can point out pretty quickly. So it changes your communication style, I think, once you really pay attention to it. So in sales, I think for me, it was a game changer. I had some really tough doctors, and it changed how I just interacted with them, period. And it helped bridge our gap on communication. So I love it. I've also used it in like sales management. I've had people have me take the test to figure out which box I should go into, as far as, do you have the personality type to be in the right seat on the bus? And so I think that can be helpful too for team
Mhm.
leaders to use all of these to say, is this person naturally, where would they fit in my organization? And then I think you can get a little deeper, with your working genius and things like that too. But the initial blush of, are they going to be more of a salesperson, a sales leader, admin? I think it's just kind of interesting. Actually think you can think about personality types and like maybe what is the right lead flow for them or how they can acquire clients. Like someone that is very risk averse, but really into relationships, then why would I put them in a cold calling situation? Like, I just don't think can they do it? Yeah. Will they be miserable and hate it every day of their life? Probably so. So why would I do that? Why would I fight that energy? I mean, I think people can work around boxes and they can expand and grow. But again, I just thinking things through like that, right? To help people be the best version of their already natural self. So that's why I like DISC.
And you hit something on it, just to where, the love hate relationship that I have with disc. But it's been very, very helpful, because my personality is that I want everyone to like me, that I work very hard to have everybody like me. But the disc has let me know that I'm just not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It does
Right.
not mean that there's absolutely anything wrong with me, but to embrace that, who else in our organization could somebody speak with an agent, maybe on a different level, in a different way, in a better way, that will get the same information across to them than I would? Or how can I work on being able to communicate in different ways? So that is what I really loved about it, is it gave me that self-awareness of, like with you, let me tell you a secret that I do with you.
Mm. Ooh, I like it.
Because you're a D, right? I am not. So when you and I have our weekly check-ins, right, either Sundays or Mondays, and we're just kind of, I'm like, okay, Mackenzie, if I'm texting you, be very to the point, do bullet points, right? Sometimes I can figure out when I'm talking to you and I'll kind of go off on a tangent, and I'll remind myself, nope, get back to the list. Pam wants to know what we're doing, what we've done, what we've checked off our list, which you already shared in your working genius.
Yeah.
And so I can just start talking about random things, and my head goes here and it goes here. And then you're like, wait, what? And so it's like, all right, I'm getting on the phone with Pam, and she's going to want to know what the 10 things I did today, or 10 things I did this week. And so make sure I tell her. And if she wants to go off on a tangent, I'm her girl. But I mean, it's just being able to meet the needs of the people, and vice versa. You're very good at when I need to just, verbally vomit, and talk about things of no importance and all importance. You allow me to do that too. So,
No, but I think we talk about a little piece of versatility, which is, I think, another section. And when I had initially done DISC, that was the next follow-up test we did was, all right, so you're this, but are you versatile enough to
mhm,
acknowledge someone else's and can you change or just adjust yourself ever so slightly to make that other person a little bit more comfortable? And that's where I think a lot of people, we all could do some work there, right? Because we come at the world as like, this is my way. And so I
mhm.
try really hard. You guys will laugh. So, Mackenzie hit it right on the head. If I'm sending you a note in the morning, I may just quickly ask a couple of questions. And I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm really not trying to be a bitch, I promise. But I sometimes have to stop and slow down and go back to the front and go, good morning.
Which she does often.
And or I'll follow it up like, "Oh, crap. Hey, good morning. Sorry about that," so I'm trying to be
Mhm.
self-aware, and again, it's just I process information a little bit differently, and I think D's can sometimes get a negative, they can get a negative, reputation out there too, and so I think there's positives and negatives to all personality types, but yes, I'm very solidly AD.
Okay,
But
I was wondering what your high, so your I is your second,
I'm
highest.
81, 81 DI,
Yeah.
so I'm very similar,
So
honestly.
I think 99, 88 I, 99 I, 88 S.
Okay.
And that's the stability and the
Mhm.
continuity, which is so interesting when you do your Clifton Finders. My number one strength, though, is adaptability.
Very
To
nice.
be in a room, to see what's going on, because I do everything for people, though I want
Mhm.
to make everyone comfortable. I'm conflict averse, which can be a
Mhm.
positive and a negative in so many ways. And so it's just that adaptability of kind of looking at that. And then, when you had said, I'm not trying to be this, I'm not trying to be that, and you're not, but I think it's our own insecurities that come into play there. Like, this is my way, just because we're all trying just to make sure that we don't maybe
Yeah.
show a little crack in our armor, that we're not as confident as we are in the subject or talking about this thing. So we overcompensate.
Yeah.
So that's just
We
something.
double down a little bit.
Yeah, we double down a little bit. We all do it, and gosh darn it, so do I.
Yeah. We
Dang
all
it.
do,
I know.
it's very funny.
Mhm.
But I love all these things too. Again, it's the self-awareness part. That to me, it was just the change. And I think for salespeople too, is just again, know where your strengths are, lean into them, work around some of the things that maybe you have some weaknesses in, but I don't think you have to be a psycho and change exactly who you are because I think you can be successful no matter what personality type you are in real estate. I really do.
Do you think, though, I was thinking for somebody who is does not like conflict, do you think that it also kind of gives for me, and I wonder what you would think about this, it almost gives me a way when it's something that's very uncomfortable for me to go to somebody knowing that there's an uncomfortable conversation, there could be a conflict, just to be like, well, I know that you've shared that this is how. I think sometimes it's good to lean into that personality if you know what it is, right? To kind of start a conversation and saying, this is kind of what I'm interpreting. Is that true? I don't know. Sometimes I'll lean into them and give them the opportunity to be like, well, no, that's not what I was thinking. Like, to your point, I joke, you may be a D, and a driver, but
I'm a
you
nice
have the biggest freaking heart of anybody I've ever met. And so just, coming from that place. So you would say good morning to me every single morning if you thought about it, but it's just, you got other shit to do and it's fine.
So I think with drivers too, you can be driven for not only your success, but you can be driven for other people's success. And I think that's really where it comes down to.
Mhm.
Driven for results, but what's the intent around that? And we have this friend of ours, Alex, who he has this website, and I encourage everybody to visit it. He does coaching as well as You Don't Know Disc. And he goes deep with you because not only is it your personality kind of type, but also what your motivators are. And he can get in like deep with you. Like I cried on our first session, like boohoo, baby cried because I had never felt like someone had seen me quite like that before. Um, so I'd love to bring him to an event sometime and just do some of that. I mean, it's empowering, and you realize that you're not crazy, that you're not the only person out there, and you just process in a certain way. And he just helps you open up some boxes there too. So, anyway, I think that's another reason why I like it as well because it
Mhm.
can go deep if you want it to.
Absolutely.
All right. Little
Well, I
plug
think
for
our last one that we have here that we wanted was the 16 personalities.
yeah.
And this one's super fun. You can take it for free. Literally just go into 16personalities.com. I retook mine just to see before we did this morning because I just was kind of curious. And you made a really interesting point. I think we should read you all of these. I don't know, once a quarter or
Once a
um,
year, I think, at least.
least, right? Just because you're in a different mindset because you're in a different place in your life, right? Because I do think as you take these, you take them hopefully take them inward, work on some things, right? Some strengths and challenges that you have, and then because that you've worked on those strengths and challenges, then perhaps you evolved into something a little bit different. So
It is true. And my very first time I took disc, I was like high S actually. I think that was my predominant one, which is interesting. But it was a different time in my life. And I was in sales and I was really all about building those relationships with my clients and things like that too. As I moved in more into like a management role, then I had to lean more into, I think, my driver kind of side to it. And now the last couple of times I've taken it, I've ended up pretty similar to where they are.
mhm.
But with 16 personalities, I it's funny. Mackenzie took it again this morning. I took it again this morning too, knowing that we were doing this because last time I took it, I was not in a good headspace. I
Mhm.
was in some conflict, and I think I went so far. I went to the D to the max.
I'm
But
going to prove them all wrong.
exactly, and again, I think it was around where I was professionally, but just mentally at that time too was not good. So I'm in a different space right now. So I thought, let me just take it and let me see what it would end up. And actually, it's similar, but maybe a milder version. I think probably a more realistic version of actually who I am. So yeah,
Okay, so what are your letters?
I am an ESTJ A.
ESTJA.
Yes,
So awesome because I'm an ESFJT.
interesting.
Mm-hmm. And I am a consul, like a consultant, and you were
Executive.
an executive, right? So they'll label it in different ways, but they kind of ask you like it was like five different sections of five questions, right? To kind of get you
Mm,
to the different things. Did you write down your percentages? Did you get a
I
chance to
did.
do that?
I
Because this
did.
is what was super interesting. Well, the one thing that this is when we get in our heads, right? Like you just talked about Mac, how you're like, "Ah, I am not that at all like enabler. So one of the sections is you're judging or you're something else. I
Mm,
forget what the word is because that's the J in my ESFJ judgment. But I'm not judging people. And I've been told that I've been judgy. I'm not judging people. I'm just seeking clarity. I'm
mhm.
77% of clarity of just understanding the clear picture. What do you want from me? What is going on here? I heard a quote this year from a business coach that I used to work with, and clear is kind and unclear is unkind because you just never know. You just never know. And a people pleaser like me, if I don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Even bad is better than not knowing. Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So at least I have a starting point, right? And so when I saw judgy, I'm 77%. I need to work on that. But then when I read it, it was like, no, Mackenzie, you need clarity and that is okay. So how can you, on my end, my part, how can I express to somebody, hey, listen, I just need some clarity here, just so I don't start creating a story in my head of what is or is not happening. And then let's move on. You're super great about that, saying, hey, let's do a little check-in, right? Because sometimes I can get in my head and like do all these things in
I
there.
can see her face, especially if I'm with her. I'm like, I need
Damn
a
it. I
little
know.
check
I have no poker. If you want to win in poker, play with Mackenzie.
and me, I think. I think we're both terrible at it.
There you are.
I'm 63% judging.
Okay.
So, yeah. I but I kinda leaned into that thinking it was probably my discernment, just kinda being able to judge a situation or judge a character, that type of thing pretty quickly. So, what
Absolutely.
were you extroverted?
78.
I'm 68. Okay.
Okay. But one thing that I've learned, because one of the questions is, I love this question because I'm definitely an extrovert. However, to fill my cup is to be an introvert. So one of the questions is, after a busy week, do you like to go out to a party on the weekend or something like that? I don't know if you remember that question. And actually, that makes me want to cry to think that if I had a very busy week, the only thing I want to do is come home on a Friday night, put on my comfy clothes, and just chill. And then I am able to regroup with
Mhm.
no stimuli, right? With nothing and nobody that I have to talk to and be and whatever, that kind of stuff. So,
And
um,
don't text her at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. It's not that she's out partying, she is
she is asleep. She has put her phone away. It's so true. Oh my gosh, it's so true. And Mike has learned over the years in our marriage, he's like, if I want to take Mackenzie out or go spend time with her, it's going to be on a Saturday night. It's never going to be on a Friday night. Or
Yeah,
it can be Friday night. He's just not going to, I won't be able to give him the best version of myself for him
yeah.
that he deserves to have if we're having date night or something
But
like
that is literally because you've put every bit of energy you have into all
that.
your work projects. You have. You've left it all on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I have.
she just needs to fill that cup up a little bit. What about observant or intuitive?
I'm 57 observant.
69.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can definitely see that I would like to look on my I would like to, that's something I would like to work on in 2024, just knowing about me. Like with these, I really try to take this information and really, and just kind of observe other people, um, and not be so quick to, I'm a
Mhm.
fixer, right? It's just, I'm a fixer. I'm a fixer in my family. Um, and I just want to fix and make everybody happy. And so I need to pause and observe before to see what really needs to be fixed, maybe doesn't need to be fixed,
Right.
or it's something else that needs to be fixed. So that's definitely something, as we grow our team, as we collaborate and partner with other agents, just really making sure that I'm being more observant. So you can keep me on track on that. If I try to fix them before they even want to be fixed, Pamela, you need to let me know.
Right. We'll both talk less, listen more, right? I think at the
We
end of
try so hard, don't we?
I have things to say.
Me too. Gosh darn it.
All right, so I think this is where we're different on this task because we are very similar, is the thinking versus feeling. I'm 71% thinking, and you're more the other way.
So
Mhm.
I'm 86% feeling.
Right? That's
Yes.
it. That's our big difference in this one. That's funny. Mhm.
Mhm. It is. It's just, but again, something that I absolutely working on that because it's my strength and my weakness. It's my kryptonite and my superpower
Excuse
is
me.
is leading with my feelings, but also learning to manage my feelings and to learn to manage them. And that's all I have to say on that because I'm still working on it. So if anybody's watching this and you're 32 minutes in and can help me learn how to manage feelings, I would love to hear what your tips and tricks are.
Right. Here to learn.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So
But
yeah,
that is so funny, but I think that's where our like, some of our disc and the other things come in there too, is that one in particular, is how do you process and make decisions? Is it through your heart or is it through, facts or whatever else
mhm.
you've discerned? So,
Yeah, I was gonna
interesting.
say sometimes 60% of the time it leads me well.
Mm,
The other 40% it can it just makes it a little bit harder.
yeah, I
But
get it.
it's
And
human.
I think we were the same on that one, and then oh, okay, here's another one that we're different on, was the assertive versus turbulent, and I don't know about that word, turbulent.
See, I know, and I'm a judgy, turbulent person.
You have to read on that. I don't
I
know, that's
know. I didn't write down the turbulent, but the T. But yes, I did see that, and I think I don't. To be honest, I don't remember the turbulent. So
yeah,
you are the T. No, you're the A, right?
I'm the A, I'm 72% assertive.
I didn't even write down the T. I guess I didn't like the word, so I just ignored it.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah.
Stupid. Um,
Something for us to dig into because it's just a little bit of a difference between the 2 of us, but that again, all those things will just make us stronger in the end as well.
100%. Well, I think we learned a little bit about something each other today, even
I
after
think
all
so
these years, right?
too.
And
Right.
just leaning into them to help us to grow relationships stronger, right? It's
Mhm.
not to because sometimes you can take these and feel like you being attacked,
Mhm.
right? Or well, I can't help it, that's just who I am. But we can, right? We can, and I've also find out very situational. I can be very situational. I'm a very low D. You get in my business about my kids, and Mama Bear comes out, and I got D in me if I need it.
Look, we all do. We're all mutts. We're all just mutts, and it is situational
Mhm.
too. Because there are times where I feel like I'm like not a D at all. I'm like, I'm a fraud because I'm not, because it's just for various reasons. It may not be something that I don't know, that I care enough about to be like assertive on or whatever. But yeah, we're all just mutts trying to make it in this world.
Well, it is, and that's where when you do the Clifton Finders, adaptability be my number one. It's because I like to go with the flow. I'm just like 98% of the time, you want to go this place for lunch or this place for lunch. You want to do this. I really don't care, but that D will come out when it's something that I'm like, yep, I have a justice gene that's really, really, it can get me in trouble too, and I can double down on my justice gene sometimes and not look at the bigger picture. But anyway, so
That's
all
cool. I'm gonna take that this afternoon, so maybe we'll do another one of these. I find them fascinating. I find them fascinating, and it's interesting working with different agents. I think that have such different personalities. You'll find someone that's just they're in the weeds a little too much. They're so analytical, and it prevents them from taking action. And again, some of these tests can really just make you go. That's naturally who I am. So because I know that now, I'm going to have to work on some of these skills maybe to grow in other areas, or at least now I know maybe I can find something that's a little bit more of a match because there's so many different jobs in real estate too. Not everybody has to be an agent. There's different roles and things there too. So I find it
100%.
all just really, really interesting. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Pamela, thanks for our wine down Wednesday without our wine. Maybe on the third episode we'll have wine or coffee, or who knows, right? Maybe we'll go
Exactly.
straight to the liquor. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Um, but we will see you guys next Wednesday for our next one, if not sooner.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.